Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Brandon.
How's it
Long
going?
time no see. You a couple offices over from me.
It's been a while, yeah. Hello.
Maybe we saw some faces here this morning that are coming back. I'm gonna have to remember to click record on this because there's people that aren't gonna make it and that want to make it live. How Canadian am I looking today? See like this? I got the red plaid. I was gonna go grab. We have like a Christmas tree at the office here. I was gonna hold it too, just to bring the whole like Canadian looking measure to this.
Just need some maple syrup and we're good to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm drinking right now. It's just pure maple syrup. No, it's coffee. But for those of you who are joining us live, I'm going to press record here shortly so that we can send the recording to people. Emma's already dropped a link that she'll be using a template that you can work through. So if you haven't started a Canva account, you kind of want to watch and play with it at the same time, feel free to do that. If you're like watching and playing with it at the same time and keeping track of all my windows is not going to be something I can do well, it is recorded. And you will be able to go back and look all that. And we'll include that link in that so you can play with the template. But Em, are you there? Or you're...
Yep,
Where did
I'm
she go?
here.
There you are. Hi, Em. So I'm going to just click to unpause the recording and then we'll take it from there.
Awesome.
Okay. There. That's it. Recording in progress. Make sure your hair is done. Feel free to turn your camera on so we can see y'all. But so we always trying to like help people utilize tools to be able to grow their businesses. And there was lots of talk in our community about Canva a couple masterminds ago. And people have been utilizing it to be able to look professional without having to hire a professional to do it. And Canva is a great tool. I know I've been using it for many years already. And I actually know M through my like other gig. We're in the fitness world together. We work for a brand called Pound Rockout Workout, where we it's this crazy fun workout if you want to do it with us sometimes, like taking drumming and making it the most exciting fun workout you've ever had. So M is on the icon team with me, and Diane's got it. She's on, if you like cathartic things where you get stressed out and emotional release and working out at the same time and good music, we got you covered. But M is a representative for the brand in the Philippines, and it was started there. And I noted, I'm like, hey, she started a job a while back with Canva. And she said, if anybody wants to learn how to use Canva more, I'm like working with Canva and teaching people how to do it. So I was like, in the back of my brain, I was like, I'm going to remember this. So when you all were asking about it a couple of weeks ago, I said, let's jump on and do a little lesson on Canva and how we can use it and how we can use it to get professional stuff out there. So I kind of briefed her on who you people are, the type of go-getting stuff that you need, and some of the applications of the program that would work well for your follow-up strategies with your clients and stuff. So Em, I'm going to kind of let you take it away. We will are you fine with people kind of asking questions as we go? And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So they're a lively group. They like to talk back sometimes, depending on who shows up. So
awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. Well, hello everyone. Are we all on the same, are you guys all on the same time zone, or are we very global? Yeah, okay. So very global. Where could you just quickly drop it in the chat where you guys are currently from, like where you are at right this very, very moment? Kentucky, LA, yes. So, well, perfect. So I am currently in Georgia because I'm going to be spending holidays here with my husband's family. So yeah, awesome. So a lot of people from BC, yes. All right, so I will jump right to it, okay? So if we are, going to have more people to join, that's also fine. No problem at all. Before I share my presentation, just in case you don't have it yet, you can jump into canva.com. That's exactly what we're going to talk about. If you haven't had a chance to visit Canva or play around with it, that's also okay. Hopefully, I touch on introducing it today. But, this particular presentation or workshop is going to utilize Canva, but you can also apply it. I'm going to talk about design principles, how do you effectively apply design principles on your marketing tools, etc., that you can use in any other platform that you choose. And we are going to have like a template, a work template as I talk about the design concepts. And yes, thank you, Ira. So we have dropped it in the chat. So just hold on to that yet. We're not going to touch that yet, but we will utilize that. So if you have a different device or you just want to toggle your tabs, up to you. Okay. So let me just quickly share my screen. And also, I would like to inform you that I'm going to be going from a presentation view to a working view on Canva, right? Okay, so creating amazing designs is what we're going to call this workshop. I don't know about amazing, but obviously, we have our own standards for amazing. Maybe more colorful, more fun, more appealing, right? So I would like to start by introducing myself. So my name is M. Pedron. So I've recently changed my last name because I just got married last November 27. Yay! So I am originally from the Philippines. Okay, I can see some chat. Okay, thank you. So I'm originally from the Philippines, born and raised, and I recently moved to California because my husband is a dual citizen. So we decided that we would just want to stay in the US for the time being. But yes, I am actually a Filipino, and I have a couple of startups and brands that I work with. I By profession, I am what they call a learning designer. So learning designer, we create e-learning courses. So if you have like let's say a training that you need to share with your team members or your organization, and you don't want an instructor teaching it and you just want them to do self-paced e-learning courses. So that's what I do. I create learning experiences or learning materials that are online, self-paced, and easily accessible. I work with Canva Philippines. So I was their learning designer. And until I, moved to the US, and I am actually just waiting for my work papers so that I could move and transition to Canva US. So I have been with Canva since September of last year, I think. Yeah, September of last year. And yeah, before that, I've always been very passionate about using Canva because I have all of these ventures in my life, and how I want to get the word out and really make sure that people know about my business, my side gigs, and all of that. But I have zero graphic design background, like absolutely zero. The most that I do from before is Windows Movie Maker. Have you guys do you guys remember that? It was an old software or app. It's a movie maker. And that's the farthest that I could go. I don't even know how to do MS Paint and all of that. Zero. But then when I was introduced to Canva, I think I've been using Canva since 2016. It's just a game changer for me because it's so easy to use, and I really feel like I'm a designer. They have existing templates that you can utilize, elements, and really the vision of Canva from its founder, Mel Perkins, is to kind of simplify that design process, because before then, what we would experience is that, to be able to design something, you want to purchase the software, purchase the elements that you're going to use, like your fonts, your photos, your audio even, right? And then to be able to print that or produce that, that's also a different kind of payment, right? So Canva really was founded in that thought or vision to simplify the entire design process. So other than Canva, I also have a startup tutorial center in the Philippines called Wizard Minds Training and Tutorial Center. So that's where I really learned to utilize Canva, because I run my own business and I don't want to pay for someone to do, just a quick ad for me, because it's costly. As much as I would like to hire someone, I wasn't in that position to do it just yet because it was a startup. And then I also have a podcast called Stories After Swipe Right. I co-founded that podcast with my fiance. I mean, my husband now. Oh my gosh, my husband. It's a podcast about, dating and relationship. So with these startups that I have, I was so eager to kind of like make it look good, make my marketing materials look good, make it appealing, make it shareable and all that. And that's really where Canva has helped me the most, right? So today, what I'm going to share with you is how we can utilize Canva in your personal marketing tools, be it email or social media posts, stories, brochures, flyers, and all that. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to be talking about design concepts in general. So, for example, Canva isn't the software or the app for you. That's also fine, because these design concepts are something that you can apply to any other platform. All right. So today we're going to talk about basic design principles, the different marketing tools that you can use, specifically what you can find in Canva, some tips and tricks, and we'll have a go at creating some stuff for us today. All right, so let's begin. I have a couple of designs here, and just let me know, drop in the chat what you think of these marketing designs, or what you think is wrong, what could be improved, just overall idea of these designs. Okay, so just pop in the chat, and here we go. So this is the first one. What do we think about that? What can you say?
Too much going on.
Too much going on. Too busy. Colors are insane. Yes, totally. You can unmute, share with me what you think about it. Yes, so much text, colors everywhere. And then there's like a check mark and an X mark. So what do we exactly mean with that, right? So it's not very clear. Just so rowdy. What do birds have to do with recycling? Yes, that's right. Okay, so let's try another one. What about this one? What do we think about this? So, yeah, infringement, because it used the logo. Yeah. Yeah, infringement, because Oh, Diane, did you want to say something? Sorry.
I think you might have got unmuted by accident. I muted you.
Okay, so lots of different colors. We're also not exactly understanding what that 3K is. Is that a 3K run? Is it a racing with cars? Because, it's Fast and Furious. That's what we associated with. It's also a little dark feeling because it's a health studio, but the colors, I don't know if you'd agree, but I feel like the colors don't really match the branding that we could have with a beachside health studio, right? Yeah, seems like something that you see at the bar. Absolutely. Okay, what about this one? So colors are a little toned down, but what can we say? What do we think about this? Too much for the eyes to read. Turns too many ways. It's so graphically zigzaggy, right? It's held tilting too much. I kind of like see the vision that they wanted to have for this particular design, but we just don't know how to read it. Like, which one do we start with? Do we start with this line right here or this line right here, how does it flow, right? Hurts your neck trying to read it. Newly renovated funeral. Yeah. So, wow, we don't want to visit that, right? Spoil yourself. See, it doesn't even make sense. But yeah, okay. So there. It's not exactly something that's easy to read and follow. Yeah. So these are actually, examples of crazy and bad designs. What about this one? So very basic, just the name and the service. Too white? Yes. What else? Too bright? Yep. Contact info. I would also say the main thing about this one is font, right? It's not the most ideal in terms, unless it's like a logo that is a brand font for them, right? But this in terms of branding or logo, these kinds of fonts were not really something that fits, the business brand. Yes, no contact info as well. So there, right? So I've shared with you some examples of designs that don't really hit the mark. So what we want for today is to not be like that, not go to that extreme, and really kind of have some guiding principles in terms of designs. So in creating or in designing appealing marketing tools, we have to think like a designer. So I'm not sure if we have graphic designers professionally in the house or in this meeting, but I'm not. And what I would like for us to do today is to put on that designer hat and see it from, a guided perspective, right? So we're going to talk about design principles. So we've dropped the link of the workbook or the template that you can work on. So I'm going to talk about some design principles, the most basic ones. Obviously, there are a bajillion design principles, but these are the most basic ones that are, utilized and things that you can really practice right away to improve your design. So we've got balance and alignment, hierarchy and layout, and contrast and negative space. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with balance and element. And alignment. So the previous designs that we've seen, texts are all over the place. It's just really not making sense in terms of flow, right? So the general flow of the design, we'll look at balancing the elements and of course, aligning your elements. When we talk about elements, you've got your text, your images, your shapes even, right? So normally, if we have, let's say a social media post, a Facebook or an Instagram post, which is usually square in size, we just find that 4 corners or half to be balanced, right? The quadrants to be balanced. For text as well, we want the text to make sense in terms of alignment, right? We just don't want, like the earlier example, it's too jagged. The text is just everywhere in terms of alignment, right? So let's take a look at some examples. These are enlarged, so you might see it a little blurred because I've enlarged it to presentation size. So for example, this one, right? Very clean and very neat because there's a clean side with the photo and just the right amount of text. The text as well is very cleanly aligned, right? If you have longer text, the default usually is just left alignment. If you have a shorter text, let's say just one word or your brand name or your brand slogan, for example, just do it, right? Nike, it's usually just center. Okay, so the more text you have, the more you want to play with how you're able to spread it out in a balanced way, right? So this one is another example. So this is more creative because you'd have shapes as well. So imagine the design without the arrow to this side, right? So then it will look kind of off. Or if there's like too much space on this side and they remove that little ellipses, the dots in there. Then you'd have more space at the top. So kind of really look at your designs in terms of quadrants, in terms of lines, because that's how you get that feel of your design being balanced. Are your elements all staggered to one side? Do your photos complement the amount of text? If I have a big photo, should I have big text as well? Can I play around with my sizing? So these things are all helpful to make your design easy to the eyes, right? So something like this as well. So if you have a huge chunk of text on one side, maybe have that graphics on the other side, right? So it's still very balanced. And then this other one. So as you can see, they also use some line graphics, and they would have that on the other side as well. The text over here mirrors or complements the text over here. So it's easy to the eye. And again, we look at it from that balanced perspective. Okay, so let's try it. So let me just move away from my presentation view. Can you still see my screen? Yeah, okay. So now this is an example design that I have for you. If you can, I'll give you time, maybe 2 minutes to play around with it. All you need to do is just drag your elements. You can group them. Just play around with it. How do you feel it'll be balanced? So I've scattered some of the text and then the pictures as well, the title. So have a go at it. All you need to do, if you're new to Canva, all you need to do is click the element and drag to resize. All you need to do is just drag the cursor. All right. So just play around with it. I'll give you 2 minutes. Is that good enough? Yeah. Okay. So just have a go at it. So I have a timer on my screen, and then
it won't let me log in onto the template. It won't let me log in onto the template. It won't let me log in onto the
ooh, echoing. Let me just.
Are you personally logged in yourself, Diane, to Canva? We got like a repeat echo happening. No, she can't. Oh, yeah, you can hear me. I just muted you, Diane, but just make sure you're personally logged into your Canva account. So if you haven't started a Canva account, you can start a Canva account.
Yeah, it's
and
free.
Then the link should work.
Yeah. If it doesn't, if you can't access it right now, that's also okay. This template is something that you can obviously take home. So feel free to have a go at that later or after this session. No worries. You don't need to submit it to me. I'm not gonna grade you or anything like that. That's just for you to have a feel on, putting on that designer hat that I was telling you about, and kind of playing around with the element. How can I make it balanced? How can I, make it look neat? All right. And again, it can go any way. You can enlarge one photo, maybe have 3 other small ones to the side. It's up to you, really. But again, what I would like for you to remember is looking at that design or the design you're trying to make and see it in quadrants, and look at how you're going to make it balanced and really aligned. Awesome. Okay. If you didn't finish, that's okay. You can, come back to that later. Let's continue. Yeah. Are we good to continue? Okay, perfect. I know you can get lost in designing in Canva, but yeah. So let's continue for now. So we're going to talk about hierarchy and layout. So when we say hierarchy, the text size, font size, that has an effect on how we receive the message of the design. Okay. For example, right? So if you look at this particular design, you sort of unconsciously follow the order to, how big it is, right? So you will read obviously the bold one first, and then the next one at the bottom, that little bit, and that one at the top last, right? It's not something that we do super consciously. It's not something that requires a lot of effort for us. It's just really how our eyes receive designs. Okay. So how do we, make sure that there's hierarchy, an element of hierarchy in our designs? Oops. So we can, number one, play with the weight of the text. Okay. So for example, in this particular one, I've just, regular font style for the others, and the middle one is in bold. So that's something that we can do. You can also change the color, right? So the font wise, it's all the same in terms of, being regular. And then this is the word I want to stand out. So I just change the color of it. You can also make it bigger. So change the size, obviously, to make it pop. Or you can combine everything. You can make it bold, you can add color, and you can make it bigger, right? The important thing to remember here is that put hierarchy into your designs, okay? Because we're not designing just because we wanted to, want something to post. More often than not, when we use our marketing materials, when we create marketing materials, we want our audience, our market, to get a message, to understand something, to read an announcement, stuff like that, right? So whichever you feel is the one that you need or most important in that design, okay? So for example, this one, right? The biggest one is ready for occupancy. I could have made a few units left bigger if that's what I wanted them to remember, right? Or that's what I want them to read first. If you're making your business cards or your personal flyers, this one I could have made into this one. Like the name is bigger than what I do, right? But because I want them to answer yes to this question, I'm going to make that one the biggest. Okay. If I want them to remember my name, I would make my name biggest. Right. So however you want to deliver that message, whichever you want them to see first or emphasize, that's where we apply these hierarchy principles. For example, you want the price because it's, or maybe a sale. If there's, if you're creating ads for sale, maybe make that bigger, 50% off, right? If that's something that we want them to see, then you can go ahead and make that bigger, make it stand out. Using hierarchy principles. Awesome. Let's try it. So in that same template or activity template, you can go ahead and on page 2 or page 3, if you want, 2 or 3, play around with it. Do you want this to be bigger? Do you want to change that? Do you want to move that on the other side? Do you want this to be something like that, right? So I would just like for you to play around with it, play around with the elements. Do I want my house smaller? Maybe the price bigger, etc. Right? You can also use page 3 for that. Do I want the installment plan to stand out or something? Right? Do I want 100 months to stand out? Maybe I change the font for that. Whatever, right? So just play around, have a go at it. I'll give you 2 minutes as well, just to play with it. Page 2 or 3 are the sections that you can play around with. Mm-hmm. And again, you can change the order of the element if you want, play around with what if the picture is going to be bigger. And also, if you can, also apply that balance and alignment principle that we have talked about at the beginning. Awesome. Okay, maybe I'll pause at 30. And again, you don't need to finish that right now. Yeah, I know. I was like, maybe I need some music or I could sing, maybe that'll motivate you. Okay. Yeah, so you don't need to finish that right now. You can go back to that later, but if you're done, that's perfect. Okay. Okay. So ready to move on? Okay. So the next one we're going to talk about is color contrast. Sometimes they call it color contrast, and negative space. Okay. Let's talk about color contrast first. So obviously this design is so hard to read, doesn't make sense, it's not appealing, right? If I compare that to just quickly changing the background into blue, okay? Obviously it's still not ideal. I would still not use green because it's just not something that I prefer in terms of, reading. But this is better, obviously 100 times better than this one, right? So color contrast for that is so obvious. Just a quick shift in the background color has immense impact in your design, right? Negative space, when we talk about negative space, this is like a more modern style of designing, right? We didn't really, well, we have negative space from before, but like this is now something that everyone is really into, designing with negative space. What we mean by that is not filling your design with too much text. Because of social media, you can now have like marketing materials that would have this and maybe just text caption, right? You don't need to put everything inside your design. And to me, honestly, I like utilizing negative space, right? Because it looks clean, it looks very easy to the eyes, right? So what we want is to play around with negative space. Don't feel like you need to bombard your design with a bajillion text, okay? What is needed in that design, just put the important things, make it catchy, summarize something. If you need a good long text, just quickly summarize in a word. Contact details if you need. What's the best way to contact? You don't need to put all of your social media handles, all of your contact details. What's the best way to contact you? Then that's the one that you put, right? You don't need to fill the entire design with heavy text, all right? So you can have, just tiny graphics, very clean. You can have a border as well, like an overlay of a shape, and then just put that, okay? So let's try that. I know we have that as well. Let me see. So for page 4, other than blue, you can play around. Can you play around with the other colors as well? Same text, you can change the font color of this one, but I just want you to play around with the color and contrast for this page 4. And for page 5, okay, eyes here first. Eyes on the screen at least. So for page 5, I have there a flower design. So choose any other design. For example, I want Christmas, right? And I would just like for you to drag and drop it.
I think M for this portion, I think R people here, if you show us what you would do, they'd love just to see how to do it on Canva.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like
Yeah.
walk us through like
Sure.
where do I get the background?
Mhm.
How do I
Yeah.
put it on? Because a lot of the users here, some of them are using Canva, but some of them aren't using
Yeah,
it because they're scared of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem at all. So for photos, you can either go in photos or elements, right? So if you click elements, that will just give you more than photos. It'll give you shapes, it'll give you icons and graphics. Photos are also here, videos are also here, right? If you want to add audio, you can find everything in elements. That's kind of like a summary of everything that you can have in Canva. So for this particular exercise, I'm going to also talk about some other Canva tips and tricks in the next section. But for now, let's try improving page 4 in terms of design. What you need to do to change the color is just to click whichever element. So for example, I want to change the text here, the font color. This is where I can see that. Just click that and choose whatever color you want, right? If I want to change the background, I just click the entire space. It will show a blue highlight, and then I can choose a different color, right? For this particular graphic or element, you can change the colors as well. Some elements will be able to touch the colors, but some aren't SVG as what we call it. You cannot, the colors are fixed, right? The elements are fixed. Yep, okay. You can also, for here, if I want to use this for my negative space, maybe I need to change the text color, right? Or anything, just I would like for you to find the design that works for you. Just hold that, drag and drop, and then just adjust. So double click to adjust. It doesn't need to be Christmas. It can be anything. I just wanted it to be Christmas, right? Have a go, play around with it. Yeah. All right. Just in the spirit of time, I'm going to keep going. You can go back to, again, your workbooks or your template worksheets in your own time and just play around with it some more. Okay. So in terms of different marketing tools, Canva has a bajillion templates for you. Okay. So you can find some social media posts, and what I'm going to do is just talk about when it's best to use these ones, right? So if you have information that you want to be shareable, very easily accessible, because, you know, almost everyone is on social media, then utilize that as much as you could, right? Photos, of course, are perfect to add, but what we want is to not just have a photo, but like design it with your texts and your, you know, contact details and all of that. Easily shareable. So I'm going to show you where we can. So let me just go to the home page. So if we go to canva.com and we want to create social media templates, you just go to templates. And do you want an Instagram story template, a Facebook post, LinkedIn, right? If I click Instagram posts, it's going to give me tons of templates that I can use and customize, right? So let's say I want to use this, right? So you just use customize template and you can go right in and play around with it, right? That is if you don't want to create your design. Sorry, that is if you don't want to create your design from scratch, right? So same thing. If you have photos, all you need to do is just drag and drop it. And it's going to get that, it's going to get that shape of whatever photo you have. Okay, maybe I'll just stay in this view so I can work with my screens. So brochures are perfect if you want a more comprehensive, more detailed information about whatever you need to share, right? Sometimes now brochures, we do or online version, right? E-brochures, emails as well. That's perfect if you have to put a lot of details, right? Because it can be multiple pages, it can be front and back. So Canva will also help you design that. If I go here and I just type brochures, all right. So it's going to give me if I want Z-fold, bifold, or topics, right? Let's say I want sales brochures. So you also have templates there, right? And again, that is if you don't want to start from scratch. If you want to start from scratch, just keeping in mind the design principles that we've talked about and apply it as you build your shapes and your text and your photos. For flyers, it's usually a one-pager. I don't know if people still utilize flyers right now. I guess some. Usually it's a happy medium between brochures and let's say a quick social media post, because it's a little longer than a post, but it's shorter than your brochures. So these are perfect if you just want to put like a one-pager, right? But it's an overview, a snap of what you can do. So something that's also available in Canva. So if I wanna, I can do landscape ones, I can do topic-wise. So everything is here, and then just customize if you want to just copy something from Canva if you don't want to start from scratch. Cool. Now, actually, Canva has info videos as well. So you can create videos on Canva that you can use for marketing. Let's see. So something like this. This is already made. Sorry, yeah, this is already made, and I will show you what it looks like on actual work deck of Canva. So this is how it looks like. Yeah, so that's made in Canva, right? Same thing applies. You can find a video. Maybe you can take your own if you want like a mini tour. You can take a clip, add that to Canva, and add your, your text. I'll show you how we create that. All right, so let's say, so what it looks like is something like, let me see, what's a good one? Yeah, okay. So what it looks like is same thing. You're just gonna add your element. So we can upload, as you can see here, you can upload your own video, click upload media or record yourself even. And same thing as you're doing other graphic designs on Canva. You can add your text, your GIFs, your pictures, etc. And then it's going to automatically, render that video for you. You can download or you can share a link for them to watch it. All right. So this is actually very recent with Canva. We didn't used to have something for videos, but now we have. All right. Okay. Questions so far? Everything good so far? Yeah. Okay.
I did not know about the video stuff
Oh, yeah.
to that level. I knew there was animated posts you could do on social media, but I wasn't aware there was like video editing.
Yes, there is now video editing. You can add audio to it. You can even do like a talking presentation if you want to record yourself, doing a video or something like that. Do you stop the video, then add the comments? What do you mean? Like
She
the
just
elements?
means like as the videos, like how do you add the text on top of the videos as it's going?
Yeah. So what you can do for that is you can actually just, add the elements. So you can pause it and then just add the elements if it's just one go. If it's more than that, for example, I have this clip and I have another clip, it will change, like the one here in this example. These are 3 clips. So I'm just gonna add, oops, sorry about that. I'm just gonna add another clip, add the video here. So maybe let's do duplicate. Sorry, let me close that. Okay. So duplicate that, change the video. Let's choose, I'll show you now. Let's choose a different video. Okay. So maybe I'll change the next scene into this one, right? And then that's when I can play the element. So per video clip is one kind of like slide. So if you want multiple videos that are snippets, then we just add like a page for that. Yeah.
I love the idea of just application for our agents would be like, if you're going to do a social media post and make it look a little bit different, the whole record yourself button here, you
Yeah.
could take the template, record yourself in it, download the video and upload it to Facebook. Now the video looks different than everything else that's in everybody else's feed. Like as they're going through, like it's just a
for
cool
sure.
application in terms of making your video look different than what else is out there, like a little template around it. All of a sudden you appear like you have a videographer or an editor, and you don't. It's just you're that person.
Yeah, and you can actually just also add an audio if you want music. I mean, I wouldn't say that we have, because these are built in Canva. We don't have the capacity yet to like add your own music. So these are like stored music. So if you want the video to have like something, you can just drag and drop your background music. And so when you save your video, it's going to have something that you play. You can also, for example, I just want this particular one, but it's a little animated. You can also save it as a GIF, right? So very easy to customize. Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to talk about some more. I need it to be in the work mode. So when we're designing, we actually have some key shortcuts that you can use. Very easy. So if you just press your R, you'll get a rectangle. If you press your C, you'll get your circle, right? You can screenshot this one. L, if you want an instant line, right? So press L. Try it now. You can try it now, right? T, to add text. Although this is only going to work if you're not on caps lock, because if you're on caps lock, it's not going to read it, right? So it's R again, R for rectangle, C, circle, text. And then you also have a magic shortcut. So if you press that backslash and you add maybe a heart, I want the heart icon, then it's going to give you like a search button that you can use, right? So it just makes life easier instead of going, because if you don't use these shortcuts, what you need to do is go to elements and look for rectangle, right? That's how you'll be able to add it. Yeah, time saver, absolutely. And then here is where you can find everything as well for help. I've just put keyboard shortcuts, but actually you have a lot of things here that you can utilize. So, personal account, etc., subscription, but you can also find there your keyboard shortcuts. So there, right? So that's also always very, very helpful. Utilizing photos and colors. So again, if you add a frame or any photo to your design, just drag and drop it, and it's just going to change with that same size. So you don't need to resize everything, right? So for example, I need 3 photos that are the same size. I can just duplicate that, and I just drag and drop, and I don't need to resize it manually. It's going to be the same size. So that's obviously very handy. You can find the photos directly here if you want something that I used earlier, a frame. So you also have that here, frames. So these ones where the photos would go in, right? So those are your frames. For colors, if you're thinking of color ideas, this is actually a link I'll show you as well. Oh, sorry. I will show you right away here. So you can go to canva.com/colors if you want color inspirations, right? You have a color palette generator, maybe upload a logo, and it's going to give you a color palette that you can use that complements that logo, right? You can also have that here, plus your hex. This link, canva.com/colors, is super handy because if you want color inspiration, this is where there's also like psychology of colors in this area. So that's if you want to play around with colors. So for example, black, what does it mean when we use black? What's the psychology behind blue iris, etc. So there. So that is canva.com/colors. Sorry, /colors. And it's going to take you there. All right. Other things you can do on social media, on Canva, is to, let's say you want to add a Google map, right? So that is something you can add here on embed and multiple things. So Google Map will always be handy if you want, of course, to show them something that is a map, right? So you just double click that and it's going to take you to the Google Maps app or page, and you can just input everything and it's going to reflect on your design. Oops. You can also add a link to your page. Yeah, so you can also add a link to a page. If you'd like a preview of the page, this is especially useful if you have like a logo showing, a YouTube page as well, a TED Talk, etc. Right? QR codes, you can also create QR codes and add it to your design. Okay, so for example, you want to use your page here. Yeah, so let's say I want to generate a QR code for canva.com. So it's going to give me a code, and if they scan that, that's going to take them to that page. So you don't need to pay for QR code generators, right? You can have it in Canva. I use the QR code generator, if I have like sign up links, right, for registration, etc. That's usually very helpful. All right. And then resizing your design. So if I want, sorry. So ideally, when you utilize a design, you can reflect that in all versions of, let's say, a platform. For example, this is my design. This is a size for stories. If you want to just resize that right away to a Facebook post, all you need to do is go to resize and then just choose. For example, I want to resize it in an Instagram post. It's going to ask you if you want to copy and resize this or just resize it right away, meaning you will lose the original file because it's going to change this particular one, right? If I copy and resize, I can still keep that, but I have one here that is sized for an Instagram post. So now I just change the sizing of my elements, maybe, make it bigger, make it smaller, however. So you know how some pages would have a story version and then a post version. So that looks very nice, very cohesive. If you needed to resize for a banner, for a brochure, you can just dive right in here and look for that particular size. So if I want this to be a flyer, just resize it. And you just have to change the elements, obviously. Yeah, no, you don't have to rebuild it. It's just one touch of a button, right? To there. What else? All right. So we only have a few minutes left. So this one in your workbook, I have some text there. You can change the text, whatever, but it's just blank. And in your own time, I'd like for you to play around with it, create a design out of that text, add your photos, maybe change it to a flyer, however, right? And, just play around with it, see what else you can do, discover some other tools that you have in here. It's really just a lot. It's very rich. Canva is a very rich tool. Obviously, if you have a paid subscription, you'll have access to more features or more elements. But the, a regular subscription is also still very handy. Awesome. So as I end, sorry. So my challenge for you is to really just think of the concept that you want, the message that you want. What's the purpose for that particular design? Do I want to convey information about something? Do I want to brand myself? Whatever, right? So think of that and then choose a marketing tool to create. Do I want it as an email element? Do I want it as a flyer, as a social media post, as a video, even? And then create it, play around with it, keeping in mind, of course, the design principles that you have learned today, and then rock your new design. Awesome. That is it for me. Do you have a question? If I want a text or email a design, yeah, for sure. Okay, great question, Sharon. So let's go ahead and try that. Okay, so for email, you can go in many ways, right? There are other providers that are specifically customizing email designs, right? Like MailChimp. MailChimp is something that some people utilize for email marketing. And because from MailChimp, you can create designs there that go straight away to the email, right? However, for Canva, you can create your designs as well, but it's gonna be on a photo form, right? Not really an email form. Let's dive right in. Let's see if we have something like that. Oops. Yeah, so you can have an email newsletter, email header. It's gonna let you create a photo version, and that's what you attach to your email body. Yeah. Oh, what size? It's really just, these templates are pretty standard, but some emails really just, it's up to you, but the templates that we have here are basic email size. Let's go ahead and look at that size. So for the size, you can check that right here. So it's going to show you, if you click resize, it's going to show you the current size. So this is the basic size that we use for email newsletters. If you need a particular size, you can just input that in here. But the templates follow a usual standard size for anything. So for, let's say, for flyers, that's usually the standard size. LinkedIn banners, that's the standard size. But again, you're free to add that here, and it's going to resize it for you. Awesome. Any other questions that you might have for me?
No, they're just all playing with it.
Yeah, for sure. Have a go at it.
Yeah, I think from application point of view, for most people being extremely busy, like taking the templates that are already built out and then applying some of the concepts that you've talked about, things that I personally didn't think about, like, like alignment and balance and all those things are so important as you're designing it. And if it's already built out for you, it's just utilizing those different channels to play around with it to make it your own. But there's so much professional content already in there with Canva to go around and play around with and rethink, and not rethink it too much. Like take some of the basic concepts and keep it simple and just get it done and get it out there to the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really one of the company culture values in Canva is to make complex things simple. So the design process can be crazy and a little chaotic, right? But because of Canva, the elements that you have, it's simpler. It's so much simpler. So add a video, create your icons and all that. Okay, so if you embed a Google map, how you change the location? So you have to double click. Yeah. Okay, now it's hanging. Sorry. So many tabs are open now. So you can just double click the map, and then it's going to take you to the Google Map page. Just input it, and then it's going to mirror. It's going to reflect that in your design.
Yeah, that's a cool application for us in terms of people are clicking on an ad on Facebook that has a map of their local, and a lot of people will do a flyer that mimics that Google map. So being able to put that Google Maps on your flyer so it goes back to the image that they saw on their ad is cool.
Yeah. So for example, you can directly, let me just share again. Let's see. Hope it doesn't fail me. Okay. So normally if you usually use some apps here, it's already going to show on your sidebar, right? If it's something that you utilize all the time, more or less it's going to show up on your sidebar. If it doesn't, you can just go there, right? Apps and integration, just go there, click Google Maps, and then it's going to show you your address. I mean, the bar where you can do, let's say, do something like that. And then you just search it, and then it's going to give you the map, and then you can just add it right away. Okay. So that.
That's a cool application.
Awesome. Yes, of course, when it's a photo, they cannot interact with it, right? They cannot search the map. You're going to be given a snippet, a photo of the map, right? They won't be able to like do other searches on that. All right. Any
Okay.
other questions? Awesome.
Well, thank you, Em. People will get to work with some of the concepts here. Now, I would say don't spend all of your days designing stuff. Like you should be spending most of your time in front of people, but use some of those things to replicate it. So
yeah, that's true.
For me, just in terms of repurposing content. So if you do something on social media, the fact that I can click the button and make it work on Instagram and make it work on LinkedIn and make it work on, like, take something that you've spent the time doing and get it into all your other channels. One, it's just branding, and it gets you in front of as many people as possible. So
yeah, I forgot to mention that you can also schedule your posts, right? So if I want to design all in one go and I want to like schedule it, I can do content planning. So all of the things that I've created on Canva will show up here if I just, schedule it, right? So then that takes the load off in terms of thinking about your timing and whatever. So you can explore these ones as well, schedule.
is that what the free version, Em? You can do content?
I'm not sure about the free version. I don't think we have that on the free version. But if you are on premium, you can, or Canva Pro, as we call it, you can schedule. So for example, this one, I want to go live on the 18th at this time. And I want it on Facebook, on Instagram. Right now, it's just Facebook and Instagram. You can do that. So, my friends in marketing, they just create designs for the entire month, schedule it, and boom, it goes live, and they don't need to do anything else. But that's,
Cool.
I think, a Canva Pro feature.
That's cool.
Awesome. Okay. I have dropped my Instagram if you need to reach me for any other questions that you might have or anything else. So I've dropped my Instagram. That's a great way to reach out to me if you need other things about Canva.
Perfect.
Not a pro subscription though. I'm not gonna be able to do that. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, she's in between, it's like, I'm in between right now, but I'll come on and share some of the learning. So thanks, Em, for spending time with us today. And we will all get to work making good use of it. So it's really a lot of little things I didn't know was possible in there. So I'm going to play around with it a little bit.
Canva has a YouTube page. So we have webinars on there sometimes, and then other tips and tricks that you can just watch at your leisure.
Yeah, I know I took a couple takeaways that are going to save me time. I'm always searching for the circle or the rectangle or the so
life-changing, isn't it?
That just gave me another 10 minutes of my life. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Everyone, have a good rest of the day.
Bye.
Ciao.